we worked together for a time at Xiamen University in China. Hugo has since retired from active AI research and is pursuing research in mathematics and theoretical physics and continuing his prognostication about the future of humanity and AI. If you're in the mood for entertaining read, you could look up his book, The Art of Left War, about a potential future world war between those who advocate advanced technology and those who oppose it. So today Hugo is going to talk to us about the freedom of information and the great power that the internet brings in that regard. So without further ado, the great Professor Dr. Hugo de Garis.
Does anybody have a laser pointer? As been said, I've been retired 3 years. I live in China. What a type I should do. Second Chinese wife. Wow. In 7 years. So what I do now is, every time I take a long trip in China, I pass through many of the million Chinese villages. There are a million Chinese villages. And I look at the oxen, the ox, and the peasants, the Nongren, and it has a deep impression on me. These people need education. Education is vital. Like, I lived in America, I saw people from low-class positions with PhD minds. In 5 years, they would pull themselves up to the upper class. Education is powerful. Okay? So what I do now is, I call myself a globicator, global educator. So the idea is create educational material for free. So you can get an education for free. And I do that in 2 ways. One way is making YouTube lecture course videos. I literally stay at home in my living room with a big white screen, a tripod, and a camcorder, and with a felt tip pen. I just write mathematics and physics onto the whiteboard and film and upload it to the planet. Okay? That's one thing. The other thing is that I make electronic libraries, so e-libraries. So I put up about 50,000 links to research papers and books. And this talk will be about this big problem that I'm having, because if you think about it, so much of today's knowledge, the world's knowledge, is imprisoned behind copyrighted paper, journals, and books. Okay? Even though the technology allows it to be free. I mean, ask yourself a common sense question. Why should anyone be forced to pay $50 for one paper book when you can download 50,000 e-books for free? The technology enables that, but our law is from another era, the paper era. So this talk will be about a kind of war, a paper war, between these 2 groups. I've given them labels. Those of you who know me, I love words. So I invent words all the time. So FIMA, so free information. Okay? Have education being free. So you just go to the internet and you teach yourself whatever you want. And the stuff I'm teaching is at PhD level and master's level in mathematical physics and pure mathematics and some computer science. Okay? And the e-library that I've created is math, physics, pure mathematics, computer theory, philosophy, and a few other things. Now, I'm hoping the stuff I'm doing will be a kind of model, so for other, especially retired professors. can do this. And like, any professors here near retirement? So, yeah, this is being videoed, so let me talk to the video camera. So if you're a retired professor, have you thought about the idea that when you die, all those decades of experience and knowledge will rot when you rot? Have you thought about that? So you could put your wisdom and your knowledge on film and upload it to the world to benefit the world in all fields. Just cover the whole spectrum of knowledge and create knowledge for free for the whole planet. And pull people out of their economic shithole to become fully educated and utterly transform the world. Education is so powerful. Okay, that's my main message. I'm a globicator, a global educator. Like, when I was a prof in America and in China, I would teach classes of, 50, 60 people. That's a big class. Right? Graduate level, master's level, maybe 20. But now, I teach the whole planet. So there's so much more power because it's on the internet. Also, as a professor, you have to publish. But I read something that just really shocked me one time, a few years back, was some statistics were taken on how many people, on average, read your published research paper. Okay, you'll be shocked when I tell you. One other person, on average, will read your paper. So that means, if you think about it, let's sink in, that means all this research effort that's going into producing all this stuff is mostly wasted. Most research money is wasted. So that made me extremely cynical. So once I retired, I said, I want to do something that I think is significant. I churned out 150 research papers that don't get read. What a waste. So I feel what I'm doing now is hugely more significant because I'm teaching the planet, not a classroom, the planet, and feeling I'm doing something significant because it's for education. And free education will revolutionize. Towards the end of this talk, I'll show you free education will have political, revolutionary consequences. And at least 4 major institutions will die as a result of free education. Okay, so that's the preliminary. Well, let me give you some critical terms. So, feminists, free information movement. The people who believe that information should be free, because technology now allows it. The internet allows education to be free. And MERS, just like members, the members of the free information movement. And this word, so for the Chinese, what is a Luddite? When the Industrial Revolution started and the steam engines could power the looms, the machines that made cloth. Right? So the machines could work day and night. They were far more productive than the home by hand looms. Okay? And so these machines put the home industry people out of business. They couldn't compete. And so people felt very threatened by this. And so they formed a movement, a political movement called Luddites. And they smashed the machines. And in ordinary English now, the word Luddite usually means somebody conservative and against progress, against technological progress. So, and the P here just simply means paper. So today's traditional publishers of academic books, publishers of research papers, they are now Luddites. Right? They're blocking our progress to having world-free education. So in a sense, these guys and these guys are now enemies. They're enemies. Okay? These guys want these guys to go out of business. So there's a war on, a kind of quiet war. There's no shooting or anything, right? So what these guys are doing is buying scanners. A scanner costs what, $100? They're buying scanners and they're scanning paper books and journal articles, uploading them to the internet, and then the whole world can then download those articles and books for free. Now they're breaking copyright, of course, that's part of the war. You're breaking copyright because these people put a lot of money and effort to making the book. So you see where the war comes in, right? These people are very angry at these people. And these people are very angry at these people because these people are stopping free education. And with free education comes a series of revolutions. And that's sort of the essence of my message. Right now, what else? Perhaps this topic here. I'm making a big claim. I'm claiming that free education will generate worldwide an educated middle class. Okay? It's very relevant to China. I don't have any CCP members here, but history shows in the, at a planetary scale, there are about 190 countries in the world. About 130 of them are democracies. And over the past 50 years, the past half century, about 100 of those countries have made the switch from one-party system to a multi-party voting system. Okay? So there's a lot of experience about when it changes, why it changes. Okay? That branch of political science is called transitology. Switch, transitology. And the common experience is it's the middle class who push for the change. They want rule of law. They want their property protected. Okay? And they push. It's always the middle class. So with free education, you generate a worldwide educated middle class. And then they in turn push for a multi-party system. And, this is more and more important, experience also shows advanced democracies do not go to war with each other because their voting populations would refuse it. So, hopefully, and this is the big dream, a war-free world, by having a worldwide educated middle class, they push their governments into multi-party systems. So the frequency of war goes right down until eventually we live in a war-free world, and then trillions of dollars a year go into humanitarian projects and not into arms and warfare and suffering. So these guys, the feminists, are very ambitious. They want this. Okay? So free education is a stepping stone towards this. And that's one of the reasons why these guys hate these guys. Because these guys indirectly, reverse the logic, go backwards in the logic. These guys indirectly are keeping the world at war. And that's why the feminists hate them. Okay. All right. To give you an analogy, we see it here. That top line is German. I lived many years in Europe, so I can Deutsch sprechen, I speak German. Je parle français, I speak French, English, and Dutch, some Japanese, 8 years in Japan. I lived in 7 countries. So dark, ni hao, hello. My name is Fritz. Okay? And my job, I'm a scribe. I copy holy texts, parchment, from one parchment text to another. And it's a good profession. Yeah, I work in the court of the king, okay? And I'm a member of a guild of these scribes. And the king, a long time ago, his ancestors, gave our guild the exclusive right to copy, only us. Okay? And I can get a lot of money by copying. So we persuaded, well, my ancestors, we persuaded the king to give us this exclusive right to copy. and so we can kill off the bad, cheap copies. Right? And nice prices. I can sell my copies at a high price, and I can afford. Do you like my furs? My beautiful furs? But there's a problem. Lately, very lately, there's a new phenomenon. These damn printers. You can see where I'm going. I see this story, right? And these printers. So these printers, you know what printing press is. They can make a copy in a hundredth of the time, and hence a hundredth of the price that I can. So we guild members, we are feeling very threatened because our livelihood is being taken away by this new technology, the damn printing press, and we are scared. Right? I like my furs. I don't want to lose my living standard. Okay? And imagine the social consequences. Now, the riffraff, the low-class people, the riffraff merchants, the merchants can now buy books. Huh? Merchants having books? What is the world coming to? Merchants and books? Okay. And even worse, the monasteries now are starting to buy. They're actually buying these printed books. Horrible thing, okay? So we're all very worried about our livelihood is threatened. So we petitioned the king, we went to the king, and we asked him, please stop these damn printers. Because look what they're doing. They're infringing on our right to copy. That's where the word copyright came from. Right? You see the analogy? I'm going to hurry up. All right. So now I've talked about this a bit before. Personally, I divide my life into three big phases. Preppers, people who prepare to be the second phase. Wagers. So preppers and wagers. And the third phase, there's no word for it, so I just invented one. So I call them arkers. After retirement careers. Right? How old do I look? In a few years I'll be 70. I expect to live another, 30 years maybe. So I'm not going to do nothing. I have to do something. So I have a new career. My new career is being a globicator. Okay, so that's arcing. Preppers, wagers, and arkers. Okay? So that globicator. So I make YouTube video lectures, put them on the internet for the world. I make electronic libraries in these topics. I mentioned that, I can just speed up a bit. Okay, now what I'll give you now is a taste of what a globicator does, well, my own case. So these topics here, they're just, what's the word? I can't remember what the word is. But the tags. They're tags on a website. So you just click whatever you want. Now these are the two main ones. If you click on this tab, you'll get the free graduate level YouTube, unfortunately banned in China. But I hear 40 million of you use Access service, so maybe you can. Okay. So YouTube videos, lecture videos, in mostly mathematics and physics, some computer theory. And if you click on this one, you get the library. Okay? So I'll show you now the library. That's what this talk is mostly about. So this is just a page where it's like click on this, and then you'll get the main topics. So 6 of them. So pure math, physics, graduate level, computer theory, philosophy, mostly Western philosophy, topics on the brain, and etc. Other things that I'm interested in. Like Chomsky's ideas, and the American political system is so corrupt. Okay. Right? So say you clicked on math. So many topics in math, like about 50,000 links. Okay? So it's a library. It's a library online. Very convenient. You don't have to go to the library. You just get it all online. Okay? So then you click, say, so this is something similar for computing topics, less of them, because it's mostly math and physics. Okay? So let's say you clicked on cognitive science in computer theory portion. Papers, so what you're getting now are actual papers. Right? So the author, the title, and a link. Now, thanks largely to Google Scholar, they're pretty good. So I'm finding in practice, I can get most of the papers, the actual content, the actual paper itself, I can get from Google Scholar. So I put here a link. So if you click here, you will get this paper comes up on your screen. Okay? So it's incredibly convenient. There's more books here than most university libraries. There's 50,000 just in these two topics, pure math and physics. And free professors can do this in all topics. Okay, but there's still a problem with books. Most books, you can see here, a piece of propaganda here. The links here are unfree. You cannot, I mean, I could put links here to the actual book itself. But if I did that, I'd end up in prison. So I don't want to go to prison. So I just say unfree. And in fact, I've given Amazon, Amazon.com, I've given Amazon a big free ad. Because if you click on these unfrees, up will come the page on Amazon of the book. Now, why do they do that? Well, because at least the user can get some information about the book. And if they want to download it for free, well, they go to a file sharing site. They type in the name and the title, and they can get the book, and then download it for free. But then it's their risk. It's not mine. I don't want to go to jail. The Luddites, they're now paranoid because they know they're going bankrupt. So many millions of films are scanning and uploading, and then the world downloads. That's the problem. Okay. So imagine that all those books, you could click on the books themselves. Imagine the job then of the locators would be so much easier, so much more effective. So much of the world is imprisoned behind paper copyrights. Okay? So the paper war, is between these two groups, the Finners and the Luddites. Right, now why do the Luddites hate the Finners, and why do the Finners hate the Luddites? I'll start with the Luddites. Yeah, paper Luddites. Why do they hate the Finners? Well, because they see the Finners as thieves. They're stealing their books. Right? If you're a publisher, you spend a lot of money to make your books and print them and distribute them. And these Finners are just taking it all for free. They're thieves. Okay? And therefore, the Luddites are taking these people to court, fining them, and putting them in jail. So, now, how many Finners are there in the world? Well, millions. Virtually every teenage kid is just downloading stuff for free because the technology allows it. Like I said before, why should you pay $50 for one paper book when you can download 50,000 ebooks for free? Why not? The laws should change so that free education is possible. Now these clients now, they've gone paranoid. They know their industry is dying. Paper is dying. Okay? So that's why these guys are just going crazy. Because they're being destroyed. They're being bankrupted by the thinners. That's the war project. All right, now the other way around. Why do the thinners hate the Floods? Well, if there were no copyrights, information would be free. And then you get worldwide middle class, or educated middle class. Okay? And I was saying that a bit before. So a worldwide middle class, they push for democracy in all countries. Advanced democracies do not go to war with each other. And so we could end up with a war-free world. I think that's the big dream of the thinners. Now, what are the reasons for the thinners not like the Ploddites? Well, they see the Ploddites as extorters. You know the word extortion? That means to charge a price that's crazily high, way too high. So the thinners see Ploddites as extortionists or extorters, because you have to pay $50 for one book, when it costs nothing to copy a book. The Ploddites, well, they're Luddites. They're behind the times. They're now an obstacle. They're something to kick out. Right? They're a problem. So the thinners say to the Ploddites, you guys, you are now redundant. You are not needed. Go away. Die. Not literally die, just go bankrupt. Okay? So when these thinners, when they put a copyright on knowledge, they're imprisoning that knowledge. Okay? And the thinners hate them for that. Because that way you don't get free knowledge of the planet, with all its huge consequences. So the Ploddites, in a sense, are keeping the world ignorant. Okay? And because of that, effectively, they're keeping the world at war. Through that chain of logic. So the bit of advice from the thinners to the Ploddites is, Ploddites, please, get out of your profession. Change your job. Because you're living in a dying, immoral profession. Okay? So do something else. Do something that helps humanity, not hinders it. Now, how are the thinners bankrupting the Ploddites? How are they doing this? Well, I was saying before, with two main weapons. The thinners' weapons of war, the paper war, one, scanners. Right? You scan the book and convert from paper to electronic. Right? And the other weapon of war is file sharing. So there are many file sharing sites. And so people can download whatever they want, as long as it's there, of course, and get it for free. So it's possible now for scholars, students, to create their own library for free, with huge consequences for their education. I talk about a $1 million education. Imagine you had $1 million to spend on textbooks. You would have a much better education. Now, that's not the only problem. There are two other sources of problems, not just the publishers. I mean, think about it. Imagine you're a professor, an academic, and your friend publishes with a Plodite. That makes your friend an ex-friend, right? Because he's using Plodites to publish. So these people are called Plodite pimps. Do you know the word pimp? A pimp is somebody who gets customers for a prostitute. Right? So a Plodite pimp creates work for the Plodites, the paper publishers, hence their pimps. Right? So Plodite pimps. But that's not it. There's still another problem. Imagine all the professors, stop being Plodite pimps. There's still a problem. What happens if their universities, if you've lived in the academic world a little, you've probably heard of publish or perish. You have to publish or you die. So universities will have a list of most prestigious publishing companies. Right? You know, Cambridge University Press, Springer fell up at the top. So these guys, the publishing houses, universities. So what we need, especially for books, I call them FAPs, F-A-P, so free academic publishers. Journals, the problem is less here. Maybe you've heard of free access journals. They're journal companies, and you can look at the journal articles for free access. Okay? But with books, nothing like that. So we need new kinds of publishers so that they're free. So free academic publishers, so FAPs. And just for a bit of fun, we need high quality FAPs. And the universities can say, oh, you published in a high quality FAP, great. So good points for you. Promotion at your university. Okay? And there'll be many middle of the road FAPs. And just for fun, the low quality ones I just call crap FAPs. So if you know some English, a bit of a joke there. Okay, so private brothels are universities that who insist their professors must publish. Okay. So the private brothels are universities that insist their professors must publish with products. That has to change. So professors are going to be busy in the next few years. Firstly, convert themselves away from being product pigs to being fibbers, first thing. Second thing they have to do, they have to establish these FAPs, free academic publishers. So they run it themselves, okay? Run by the academics, so that they're free, especially for books. Books are the big problem. And then these professors need to put moral pressure on their universities, so that the universities are not corrupt brothels. Okay, so just the last few slides. Politics. Ask yourselves, what's the number one job of a politician? If politicians do a bad job at this number one thing in democracy, they'll be voted out. What is that number one thing? But what's the main job of a politician? I think it's to create a good economy, right? Lots of jobs, economic growth. Okay? Well, once free education becomes a big thing, billions, probably about 2 billion, 7 billion people in the world, about 2 billion of them can really benefit from university education. So you're talking 2 billion people. Okay? So when free education becomes normal, these 2 billion people will put enormous political pressure on their leaders. We want free education so we can pull ourselves out of our economic shithole. Right? You can imagine the pressure that's coming from I just call the 2 billion. Do a cost-benefit analysis. Well, the Ploddites will suffer, obviously. So maybe several 100,000 people will lose their jobs. Okay? So they will scream. That's normal, that's to be expected. But huge gains for the 2 billion. So these 2 billion will be a political force. I talk about here, a force of nature. They will be so powerful, you cannot stop them. They will get what they want, okay? Which is free education. Now, 2 more slides. Globicators, they're very dangerous people. Why? Well, for 4 reasons. Most universities will die. Why? Because education is free. At Harvard University, it costs parents $50,000 a year for undergrad education, which you can get for free soon on the internet by rock star, very popular, rock star professors, the best professors on the planet. Okay? So the universities will lose their, what's the word? Yeah, they'll lose their fee base. They will lose the money coming in. So most universities will die. Right? First revolution. Second, libraries, paper libraries, they will largely die because you get your libraries online, on the internet. Okay? Now, of course, the publishers, the pliers, they will die. That's what this talk is all about. Right? So the paper publishers will die. And the big one, the dictatorships, in time, they will die. 50 years from now, there will not be a single dictatorship left on the planet. Right? The whole world is democratized, maybe 2 countries per year on average. The Arabs are going through that process right now. Right? Next probably be Shanghai, Hong Kong, and so on and so on. Okay? So no more dictatorships. That's the big dream. So those 4 institutions will die. They'll disappear. So don't let anybody tell you these globocators are crazy people. They're big dreamers, and they will have real power. Think of that.
So we're a little short now, so we're going to have maybe 3 questions. Okay, any questions?
Questions? Who's doing an online course now? Like Coursera or Udacity? Who's ever done one? Like there's quite a few people who are already in this movement. Have you done one, Hugo?
You talked a lot about the implications for having people educated for free, but I didn't hear much conversation about where does the publishing still has a real cost, research still has a real cost, even if you need to publish for free. How do you see that continued?
The professors, the researchers, will do it themselves. It'll be a self-generating publication. That's what a FAP is. A FAP is run by the professors, by the researchers.
I mean, in the context of academic research, the papers are written by professors who are paid by their universities and read by professors who are paid by the universities. So really the publishers just get paid to take papers that the government pays professors to write, to be delivered to professors who are paid by the government. So I think they're, in the particular case of scientific publishing, I think he's pretty much completely right. The scientific publishers essentially serve no function but to collect money. The refereeing of articles is also done unpaid by professors who are paid largely by government. So that's a particular case, of course.
So I'm outside the loop. I'm not an academic, but does the publishing company not pay every time they sell a copy of the paper?
No, they don't pay a professor. The professors don't get paid for writing papers. However, they make money from university libraries who buy the journals, which are then paid for by taxpayers. So, I mean, the situation is university professors are paid a flat salary. If they write papers, they will get merit raises from their university or something. Then these papers are sent to commercial publishers, who then, for thousands of dollars a year, sell journals to university libraries, where the journals then sit on the shelves while professors read the papers on the internet anyway.
One thing I talk about grade level. Say you take a course, and you want credit for that course. Like if you learn something, you want proof, you want a piece of paper, a diploma you can take to an employer and say, look, here's proof, I studied this course. So I see a lot of universities, when they die, will change themselves. I call them grading centers. They grade. So they grade the homeworks, and they grade the exams, and then they give the diploma. But a grading center is much less expensive than a university. I mean, think about it. Harvard University, $50,000 a year for undergrad education that you can get for free with a rock star professor, you know, the best in the world, on the internet. That's what's coming. Universities, most of them, will die. And that's a good thing, because the parents, they save $200,000. Right?
Or they would just change their business model. Or universities would just change their business model.
Yeah, but how? If they don't have their income base. They'll just disappear.
Have you raised the point of what will happen to the academics if they're not supported by the universities, which are not supported by people willing to pay for education?
They'll become robots and disappear.
Will they?
We'll all disappear once the robots take over.
The researchers will still be there.
Were you paying attention this morning?
Undergrad professors, like my wife, Joe's wife, she teaches largely at an undergrad. Her job will be wiped out. So the professors who remain, who survive, will be largely research professors. So there'll be research universities. But they will lose their teaching side. That will go to the internet. That's coming already. That's already starting to be developed.
So I have an interesting comment. So at SU, we have to predict what's going to happen in the next 20 years. So my prediction was university will disappear. However, I think it's likely. Apparently, a lot of people still are pretty positive, even though there's a lot more courses available now. But I wanted to point out, even all these Coursera, you know how they make money? They make money through certification. So they will offer a class for free, but if you want some sort of certification, then you pay to get that certification. And there's also a struggle, like say, with this online education, essentially you're going to have people who never went to Harvard, never went to Yale, but have all these amazing courses from different really well-known universities worldwide. And their ability, their knowledge, their technical capability is very high. But how do you sort of adjust that gap between, the knowledge and then how our society recognizing is a big problem?
This is where governments can, as I brought in the US, there are certification boards, and what's their job? They're sort of like judges, and they go from university to university. I mean, the Chinese government does it, goes to university, and looks at the standard. Is the standard sufficiently high? So a grading centre, they don't exist yet, but when they do, well, they can be certified also by the government. And those that are cheaters, well, they go to prison. Honest cookies.
Have you got a quick question? I know you had a hand up.
Yeah, I know. That was probably the best work on my. No, that's not fine. That was probably one of the best work on my hands kind of well. But firstly, I'd like to point out that I completely disagree with you.
Oh, fine. Let's talk about
So your entire model is based on the idea that just by spoon feeding an individual content, right, providing them with content, that constitutes an education. Well, I believe that each one of you had in some point of your life a teacher who greatly influenced you, right? Somebody who came to you.
You mean like face to face?
Yes, like a teacher, right? And that teacher was instrumental in your education, right? When you're in your system, right? Like I just took a look through your website, and you've put up a lot of titles of papers, but I mean, I don't see how this could constitute an education. Like, I mean, you could have like an individual parsing through all this, but what's the value of it if somebody doesn't know which articles worth reading, why this article is worth reading, how to draw the connections. And second, I mean, I could read all these articles that you put up. Would that make me a great physicist? I mean, would that really take the
Have you seen his video lectures?
Well, I mean, even if you have a video lecture, if you YouTube Richard Feynman teach you the principles of physics, and then would you realistically say that an individual could come out of that with a PhD?
Well, yeah. I mean,
this question was actually about very
well, sure.
So, why am I, to answer your question indirectly, why am I in China? Like the Westerners and the Chinese. Why am I in China? And yet I'm so critical of China, but I live in China. Why? I lived in 7 countries. I speak French and German. For me, the 4 top cultures in the world in terms of prestige are the US, Germany, Britain, France. I speak all their languages.
You left North Korea.
So why China? Why am I here with that background? Because people. The average IQ of Chinese is smarter than Americans and Europeans. It's 105. Europeans, Americans, 100. So imagine one big Chinese city of 13, that's the top 1%, 13 million Chinese intellectuals. And
How does that answer this question?
Well, I'm coming to So people like that, people in the top 1%, they're smart. And so many of them, especially in China, are still out in the paddy fields on their ox. Right? It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. So what I'm trying to do is to reach those self-teaching people who have extraordinary abilities. And then just by providing the material, you don't have to have a great mentor in visual situation. Right? They just teach themselves because they're so smart. The only thing they don't have, one is a smartphone, a cell phone, but in a few years that will change. The whole world will have smartphones, internet phones, and then they can teach themselves.
All online courses they teach each other in forums. Most people actually don't learn this from watching videos in these Coursera or Udacity websites. They actually go to the forum to learn and to discuss.